Welcome to Mystery Shack Look Back, a Gravity Falls rewatch podcast and fandom time capsule. I'm your docent, David Spencer.
And we are your curators, Charlie Marlowe.
And I'm Ella Cesare. Thank you for teeing us up there, docent. You have earned your snacks for the day.
I get paid in snacks.
Oh, I thought it was going to be like a Boy Scout badge, but a button for his hat.
Well, we don't have those in yet, so I just stacked up on like these Lunchable things in the meantime.
I always call them charcuteries.
That's a lot. That's much better. That's much better, because now you can have them at meals other than lunch.
David, how did you spend your quarantine?
How did I spend my quarantine? Oh, I am a big fan of Legend of Zelda, and during like Christmas 2019, I finally got a Switch and played through Breath of the Wild, and it was so exciting. And then I realized I played and beaten about half of the Zelda games, but definitely not all of them. But I decided that I was going to make it my mission to play and beat and 100% every single Zelda game. So I started doing that in March 2020, and I am on my second playthrough of Breath of the Wild now. I played them all in order, release order. Some of them was replaying. But when I say beat, I mean every heart piece, every Skulltula, every train part, every kin piece and Minish Cap.
Wait, how was getting the kinstones in Minish Cap?
It was a lot. You know what was the worst, though?
What?
Is the Oracle games.
Yeah, the rings.
The rings, and there's a couple of rings that are all just based off of RNG. And oh boy, not only did I have to do RNG once, but in some cases I had to do it twice to carry things over between the games to completely 100%. And I had to play both of those games 2 times in order to get everything. It was a lot.
I do have one question about your thought process here. So was it like quarantine started and you're like, I have a lot of time on my hands, why don't I tackle all the Zelda games? Or were you in Christmas 2019 playing Breath of the Wild like, man, I should really play all the Zelda games, but when am I ever going to find the time? And then the universe was like, hey, how about this?
You know what I think it was? Is that quarantine started and I was like, you know what? I got this Switch online. I haven't tried playing a lot of the NES stuff. I've played through some of the SNES games. Like we had the Super Nintendo Mini, but it's like I played through half of the original Legend of Zelda, so I'm going to try to tackle the original Legend of Zelda. And then about halfway through playing that, I was like, I should just do this with all of them, because between the Switch and the 3DS, I had access to like every Zelda game except for like 3 or 4.
David, how did you discover the Zelda franchise?
So yeah, when I was like 9 or 10, my mom got remarried and my new stepbrothers had an N64. So I finally like got introduced to video games. But we had 5 boys sharing one console and one set of games. And so it was like very much timed out of like you get your maximum of an hour turn a day because everybody's got to have a turn. And also it meant that Zelda games only had 3 save files. We had a copy of Ocarina of Time and we had a copy of Majora's Mask. And it was basically you got a save file on either one game or the other.
Oh, man.
And so for me, my game was Majora's Mask, which introduced me to Zelda and my love of that series. And Majora's Mask is definitely still my favorite video game today.
Oh, it's so good.
So what is this connection then that Gravity Falls has to The Legend of Zelda?
David, both you and I took quarantine as a reason to get back into Zelda. And I think the hiatus of a television show is sort of a quarantine of sorts.
Sort of. Fewer dead people.
Fewer dead people, but yeah, there was nothing else to do. So much like on the first hiatus, we covered Rumble's Revenge, the tribute to
Streets of Rage
that Gravity Falls did, or that Bamtang did, the company that Disney contracted to make the Flash games for their website. now on what the Gravity Falls fans know as the Great Hiatus.
Yes.
Pretty early into it.
Yeah, just after Gideon Rises aired in early August 2013. On August 16th, 2013, the game PinesQuest, subtitled The Final Quest of Legend 12, was released onto Disney's site.
That's a reference to Final Fantasy. Other than the word legend, that title is a Final Fantasy reference.
Yeah, an absurdly high Roman numeral.
Yep. What they needed was a Greek numeral after the Roman numeral, like 12-2.
Yeah. So and briefly going back to the exploration piece, I know like that is, you were telling me that's the whole genesis of Genesis. The whole reason for Zelda existing is the creator like capturing the sense of like exploring. Like
Yes. Shigeru Miyamoto. I pronounced that in the most white ass way possible. Shigeru Miyamoto, while exploring the woods behind his house as a child, discovered a cave that no one told him was there, like a big enough cave for him to enter. And Zelda was it was mostly made by Takashi Tezuka, but it was mostly Shigeru Miyamoto saying, yo, one time I was exploring a cave behind my house that I didn't know was there. Make a video game about that.
And that's totally Gravity Falls, too. It's like this thing that no one else, like, realizes is there, and you're like, only I know about this thing, and...
Yeah, 100%.
So, David, I need you to fire up the old Flashpoint. The Flashpoint project is an attempt to archive Flash games that have become unplayable since the discontinuation of Flash for most browsers.
So let's boot up some PinesQuest.
I'm so excited. I'm so honored that you wanted to bring me on for the Zelda thing.
Gee, it sure is boring around here.
My boy, this piece is what all true warriors strive for.
I just wonder what Gideon's up to.
Stan! Gideon and his minions have done seized the Pixely Shack! How can we help? It is written, only Dipper can defeat Gideon!
Great! I'll grab my stuff!
There's no time! Your camera's enough!
How about a kiss? For luck.
Absolutely not.
We, and by we, I mean David,
It was entirely David.
just played PinesQuest. Ella and I have played this before extensively.
True.
This is David's first time playing it. What did you think?
Well, I had a really tough time, and it took me forever because I kept dying because I'm bad at video games.
That's not true.
David is glossing over the fact that he beat the boss with no health.
Yeah, it got down to I legitimately got, like, very excited. Like, not that I wasn't excited the whole time, but both of us screamed when David was down to exactly 0 hearts, and the final boss was down to very little health, too. So and also David had run out of health regenerating things in the inventory, so just started blasting away at the final boss, and look how low health he is.
Yes!
Yeah! Oh my god! Oh my god!
No, I've never had somebody tell me that I was good at a video game before, so that was definitely a nice little confidence booster.
But you've gotten so good at these games for the past year.
I guess I've been playing so much Zelda, so I guess I just knew what to do.
Yeah, David, if you're getting every kinstone, then just beating the bosses is like, oh, we're just beating the boss. Oh, to watch the end cutscene? Okay, yeah, I could do that in a Zelda game.
Yeah, throughout it all, Charlie was like reminding David, you don't have to 100% it. I kind of was curious, but...
It's gonna bug me. There's gonna be a little voice in the back of my head for the rest of time that's gonna be like, yeah, but what if you found all the bills?
Well, do you want to know what happens if you find all the bills, David?
Please tell me what happens.
We will tell you later.
Tell you later.
Regale us of your tales through the Pixely Shack.
Well, it was a wonderful top-down Zelda, very reminiscent of Link to the Past is probably what it pulls from the most. Although it's got that level up system that's not usual in Zelda games, really only seen in Zelda 2, Link's Adventure.
Well, there are items in the Oracle series that are called the level 2 version of items, but that's just a different item you need to find.
Yeah, but it's not like you grind for experience to get it.
No, but the upgraded items do work similarly to the upgraded items in the Oracle series, but you do have to get them through grinding like in Zelda 2. If any of our listeners don't know anything about Zelda, sorry.
Then we have something in common, listeners.
That might have just been gibberish. David and I might just be making up Zelda games to...
Well, this is a big thing when it comes to, like, video game RPGs. Like, Zelda is often put in the RPG genre, but this is a big thing that it's got different from RPG games, because most RPGs have a level system where you grind experience and fighting against enemies that will give you experience points, and that's how you unlock things, as opposed to Zelda, where you just find new items in dungeons and stuff like that. I would say
this is definitely more of an exploring thing than a leveling up. There's a bit of leveling, but
it's open world, and you have the option of just going about the main quest or filling your Bomber's notebook, so to speak, with the side quests. Wendy and Seuss will send you on little errands.
Yeah, and I also love that there's multiple levels of collectibles that are or are not necessary. And it was, this is a definitely experience that I had many times in my Zelda playthrough. It's like, oh, I'm doing this thing. Okay, so I'm trying to collect. I know at the very least, I got to get all the heart pieces. Oh, but here's another thing I can connect. And oh, hey, I've got a camera and I can fill up a photo album. And oh, hey, there's bills I got to collect. Wait, this game has achievements? So that was fun.
Every time there was something new, you were like, oh.
Like a new progress bar.
The camera in this game resembles the compendium in Breath of the Wild, which was not out yet.
Yeah.
It doesn't really resemble the pictograph from or the pictobox from Wind Waker that much.
Yeah. Although it's really bugging me, those 3 boxes underneath the enemies, because I feel like I'm supposed to be able to take pictures of characters like Seuss and Wendy and Gideon, but I couldn't.
The characters that you walk up and talk to as versus the enemies.
Because it would just trigger the talking, and I was like, am I doing something wrong?
There were definitely, and part of it was, admittedly, the game itself, but a lot of it we were finding was the Flashpoint program that is not perfect.
Yeah, and the weird thing is, Flashpoint kind of gives a different result for everyone, because I had a lot of trouble getting Rumble's Revenge running, and messaged a few people, and they're like, I don't know, it just opened. I don't know, I didn't have the problem, so I don't know how to fix it. Meanwhile, PinesQuest opened with no hitches for me, and it was incredibly glitchy for David.
Yeah, it was like right off the bat we saw the left side of the screen wouldn't update.
Yeah, like Mabel's nose was moving and Mabel's body was not moving.
And then it looked like half of Stan's face was drooping, and Ella made the joke that it looked like Stan was having a stroke.
Right, I was worried about him.
And we got wonderful text glitches, which led to hilarious line reads.
And names, character names in the text bubbles would get jumbled together. We got Mabkle Stan, Grapper,
Davian.
Yeah. and then of course I just completely just went through collision boxes at least twice. So that was exciting.
There was a moment so there is a section called Stan's Challenge Room, which is not a room, it's just like a clearing in the forest, but it's Stan's Challenge Room. Don't ask why.
Stan's famous challenge room, from Gravity Falls.
All fans know about Stan's Challenge Room, and it's guarded via a door that you can only unlock with a silver key. But David somehow glitched over like the trees that were blocking the section and got into the section, but did not have the silver key and could not get out of the section, so had to go back to the menu and go from the save point.
Whoa!
Whoa!
Ah! Ah! I don't think I'm supposed to be here. Uh-oh.
You got it.
You're almost out. You're almost out. There you go. You're back.
Hey, I'm into
You're in Stan's challenge room.
Oh, boy.
You got there the Grunkle Stan way by cheating.
I'm really excited to see how the speedrunning community works that into their 100% runs.
David, any walkthrough of this game, any playthrough of this game is almost certainly just someone playing it for the first time. This wasn't like huge to the extent that when I was Googling how to play these games now that Flash was discontinued, I couldn't find a whole lot of results because there aren't even a lot of people looking back to play these games, but they were important to us at the time, right? Ella, you were really hyped when this was announced.
Well, yeah, because it's interesting that you can't really find any much about it now, because I remember it felt very uncommon for a browser game in that it had been announced and it was being teased in advance of its release. Like what game on the Disney Channel site is like, hey, get ready for this game coming soon?
Yeah, there was a tweet.
From July 3rd, so like a month and a half before the game dropped, that Alex Hirsch tweeted, working on something fun, #Pixely Shack, and it's a close-up screenshot of Waddles as he appears in the game. He has the most adorable animation. Yeah, I love Pixel Waddles.
Oh, little pixel waddles.
How many photos did you take of the pig soul?
By the way, I just looked it up. Speedrun.com does list PinesQuest.
Ooh.
The winning time is from somebody named James _2 Master.
Bravo.
And beat it at 26
Master.
minutes and 40 seconds.
You could beat it, David. You could beat it. You could beat it. You could beat it, David.
There have been one run recorded on speedrun.com from one player, that player being James _2 Master.
Hey, I'm sensing some corruption here.
The mod for this page is James _2 Master.
Wait a minute here,
Now
Two-Wheel
wait a
Master.
second. Conflict of interest.
I really, truly believe that somebody's tried to speed run every game out there.
Oh no, you're right. You're right.
There's a Flash game that we play at my school, showing first graders for Earth Day, a game called Michael Go Recycle, which is one of the greatest video games I've ever played. And
Has Michael played it?
You know what? I don't know, but maybe we should. That sounds like a great Twitch stream. I got really upset because I was looking up world record run of Michael Go Recycle, because it's like a high score game, and I've definitely beaten the score that has the world record. So I really need to record it and, get out there. Oh my goodness. This world record run for PinesQuest was submitted almost exactly 1 year ago today.
Okay, well that's pretty recent.
Whoa! You can beat it, David!
Guess I gotta get practicing.
Wait, I also love the 1 year ago because that means that was like 2 months before Flash was discontinued.
One last go around, buddy.
Because that means Two-Wheel Jamie was like, if I get the PinesQuest world record in now, I will never be challenged. If I do it a few months earlier, someone will beat me.
See, what I also want to see, though, is give me a randomizer of this, where it's like all the quest items are all just shuffled all over the place.
Yeah.
So, outside of the glitchiness built into the game, and outside of the glitchiness added into the game by Flashpoint, how was it as a Zelda clone?
It was cool. Combat was hard. With not being able to get something that can actually defeat enemies easily until the flashlight, and having it only run on batteries, that made that really tricky. But it felt good to get a lot of money and buy things,
just like in real life.
That felt good. And that's one of the fun parts of Zelda games. There was a lot of block puzzles. I mean, you could barely call them puzzles. It's just a matter of moving
you
this
put
rock.
A thing on a thing.
Yeah.
So a little more Goof Troop than Link to the Past.
Yes. That is definitely a staple of the Zelda series. But in Zelda games, whenever they do a block puzzle, blocks are on some sort of grid system, so it's a lot easier to know when you have things lined up.
Yeah, there are a finite number of positions for the blocks, and then, this game, they move by pixel.
Yeah. So on top of it being really weird that, like, there were posts of, like, hey, this browser game is going to drop on Friday, August 16th, and one of my friends, who was at summer camp with me, we were, like, actively hyped for it. We were like, oh man, I can't wait to play this Flash game on Disney.com, which...
Well, yeah, it's interesting that you're saying that, and you also wrote the note here, it's weirdly long for a Flash game.
Yeah.
These are all my experiences of Flash games as a Homestar fan.
I guess, yeah, that's true.
Well, Flash games get announced in advance with a big teaser, and then are, roughly of this length, like Peasant's Quest or The Dungeon Man 3.
Right, to me, they always felt like the equivalent of an arcade game.
No, yeah, a lot of the Flash games are very short. There is an excellent Zelda tribute on Newgrounds called The Legend of Zelda and the Lampshade of No Great Significance, which is just the side quests from Zelda games, so you're just doing a trading sequence, and all of the NPCs are popular Newgrounds creators, so like Legendary Frog is there.
Oh my god. That's cool.
That's funny. That's
so the
awesome.
first thing that we learn in the game, in the story of the game, is that this is a direct sequel to Rumble's Revenge. It takes place...
Yeah, they're still trapped in the video game.
Yep, they say that Rumble was actually just a mini-boss, and they have to find the one who put them into the video game in the first place.
Because in Rumble's Revenge, he claims to have put them in the video game, but after they defeated him and stayed in, they knew he was lying. They retconned him to be lying.
Which is another thing I found really interesting and unique about this, and also uniquely Gravity Fallsy, right? Because Gravity Falls setting itself apart by having continuity, and that extends into the browser games.
Almost all of the Flash games were made in some part by Bamtang, but these are the only two where there's like continuity between the two, and they're also like way higher effort than the other ones. Like they didn't need to do a really good Streets of Rage clone and a pretty good Link to the Past clone.
I think it's also interesting that the beat 'em up leads into an open world exploring Zelda clone.
Especially for me, because Zelda games and beat 'em ups are like two of the only 3 genres I play, and this was the new cartoon I was getting into. I'm like, oh yeah!
I'm just surprised that they got out of the video game in this one. I feel like you could have a third part, make a trilogy out of this.
It's true.
But I also don't know what Super Nintendo game you could be cloning for,
A third game.
So I do know the answer to this because before, during the first Comic-Con panel, Alex was asked if a Gravity Falls game could be whatever you wanted. He said it would be a clone of Super Mario RPG by Square.
All right.
So turn-based combat.
Yeah.
Story-based RPG.
Yeah. I could totally see that.
But yeah, so much like Rumble's Revenge, this feels like it has way more effort put in than was needed. It's a total love letter to the fans because essentially everything is a callback to something from season 1. Again, because this was released right after the end of season 1, so they basically
like 2 weeks or 2 or 3 weeks right after season 1's finale aired.
Yep, so they have like free reign over anything that appeared in the show thus far to use. Like basically all of the items are references, all the missions have some kind of reference.
There's even Bill, which is a pretty recent Gravity Falls reference at this point.
Right, and interesting that it, again, carrying over from Rumble's Revenge. And we learn that through the cemetery where the angel statue is, from episode 8, Irrational Treasure, we see some gravestone gags that reveal the names of Grady Mech, who is the husband of Fertilia when they go back to the Oregon Trail in the Time Traveler's Pig.
We have one for Ma and Pa Duskerton, who owned the Dusk to Dawn and died of double heart attacks the first time they heard rap music.
I think we did say their names in the Inconveniencing episode, but this is where we learned them, which is really interesting.
He has a name tag that says Pa.
Right, no, but the last name, I mean, we never...
Oh yeah,
Duskerton,
yes.
And we see the graves of the very teenagers who killed Ma and Pa Duskerton, Jeffy Fresh, Byron, and Rosie.
Didn't they also kill the submarine trickster?
They created the Summerween Trickster.
They created both the Summerween Trickster and the Ghosts.
Yeah.
These teenagers from the 90s or 80s.
And what were their names again?
Their names were Jeffy Fresh, Byron, and Rosie!
Actually, sorry, I'm stuck on the fact that they cause the haunting of the convenience store.
Correct.
Yes.
They created the candy monster,
Yes.
Yes.
and there's 3 of them,
Uh-huh.
Okay.
and there's 3 journals.
Oh.
Which journal do you think Jeffy Fresh wrote, and which one was Rosie?
Are you saying Rosie is a writer?
There's Jeffy Fresh, Rosie, and who's the other one?
Byron.
And Byron. I don't know.
He used to go just by Tyrone until he realized he was also attracted to men, and now he's Byron.
Yeah. The music. Come on. Music is
The
amazing.
music is incredible because it's so, like, not only have I been just playing through just all the Zelda games, and maybe because of the playthrough, I have been constantly listening to these soundtracks to these games just like while I'm working on stuff.
What's your poison?
Like of my favorite Zelda soundtrack.
Yeah, what's your go-to?
Oh boy. I mean, probably my favorite lately is the Switch Link's Awakening.
Yeah.
I love that soundtrack. It's so good. Also, the Wind Waker soundtrack is fantastic.
Yes. Yeah, Wind Waker's my favorite soundtrack, but lately I found like a Zelda music to relax and study to or something, and I've been listening to that a lot.
I've also been listening to on repeat a classical guitar cover of the Ocarina of Time soundtrack from Super Guitar Brothers. But anyways, what I was saying though is it was wild how throughout the Zelda series, they try to use that main theme as much as possible, but there's a lot of times where it gets remixed in different weird ways or played subtly in different ways.
My favorite is the Wind Waker opening, which starts with a completely different melody.
Yeah.
And because it's supposed to be hopeless, and then when hope comes into it, the melody changes to be the Zelda 1 NES theme, though.
Yeah, and it's something that has kind of been a staple of this series of like redoing especially just the overworld theme in different ways depending on the style of the game, but just to also mix it up. And like Zelda 2 has like a really unique take on it from the first Zelda game that, you know, you can hear the notes, but they're not quite in the same order you're expecting. So it feels like Zelda while being different. And so this totally gave me those vibes of how it would start feeling super similar to a classic Zelda overworld theme and then dip into the Gravity Falls music. I think of everything, the music is probably what I'm most just like wowed by.
Yeah, I remember Charlie, you pointed out that it feels like a good marriage of Gravity Falls and Zelda sounds in the music.
The humor, I think, is also something that's less of a Zelda thing, but the humor, like especially on all the signs, definitely gave me Earthbound vibes.
For sure, yes.
Which Earthbound is a famous game series and Super Nintendo game.
Mother 2,
yeah. And it's really well known for its writing and its comedy. I mean, Super Mario RPG as well. But the kind of weird, just like one-off strange things on sides.
Well, there were some one-off strange things, and Link's Awakening comes to mind.
Oh, yeah, that's true. But I feel like Zelda's comedy was different. It wasn't as absurdist or like meta or fourth wall breaky as games like Earthbound or Super Mario RPG.
Yeah, there's a lot of mentions to like side quests and you know, game design terms.
Fourth wall jokes. The thing I got really excited about every time I go back to the game, music-wise, is that you eventually find the lair of the programmer, the person who put you there, and that is revealed to be Gideon, who was given summer school programming classes, which is apparently David's fault.
That's my fault. That's what I do in summers, is I teach at a computer camp, and I teach rich white kids how to make video games. So
Oh, yeah, so you definitely taught
I
Gideon.
definitely
You created Gideon.
definitely
Yeah.
created Gideon.
You're the Obi-Wan to Gideon's Anakin.
Literally, I have taught a child TV star how to make a top-down adventure game before. So, yeah, this is my fault, you guys.
Do you want to make a public apology to Dipper and Mabel here, David?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, but it was worth it for that music, right?
Wait, you gotta start with the YouTuber apology sigh.
I don't think I watch enough YouTubers to know the apology sigh.
There's a trope in apology videos that the first noise is always
But the point I was trying to make is that Gideon turns into the Summerween trickster and becomes the final boss.
Yeah, it seemed like it was setting up he was going to take on different forms, and then he just took on the trickster.
They ran out of time.
He also mentions becoming a nightmare, so it reminds me of the final boss from Link's Awakening, the Nightmare, which takes the form of other bosses, including ones that are in Link to the Past and not Link's Awakening.
But in that music, I don't know if it's just me who hears it, but I swear that there's like a little theme of the song that Gideon sings in his first episode. There's a little bit of that, which sounds like
Hit it, Dad!
and I swear it's in there.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Which I love. I love that. And which is, like you said, about what Zelda does, right? With incorporating.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, Zelda boss music is always like some of the most fun tracks. There's, Wind Waker has one of the best ones with the,
I'm just going to quote this next fact directly from the wiki because I love the way it phrases this. It is in fact impossible to get a game over as the countdown to restart continuously loops. And when I read that, I didn't think it was I thought it was just gonna be like, it counts down normally and then loops back.
David did leave it going because he didn't realize you had to click the replay button in the corner.
It counts it goes 5, 4, 3,
3.5, 3.25,
and nothing.
That turned invisible. Come on!
There are several Seuss side quests, and he is stationed wherever you're assigned those side quests.
But not all Seuss's are created equal, dude.
When David collected all of the magazines that Seuss had sent him on a fetch quest for, David just tried to tell any Seuss.
Yeah.
No. I'm Key Seuss.
No, you gotta go. No. Oh, you're looking for my brother, Magazine Seuss.
Oh, hey, yeah, I'm Magazine Seuss. You're probably talking to Key Seuss.
I'm 3 photos of Gnome Seuss.
Yeah. You can come back to me anytime if you want to take 3 photos of Gnome.
How's Magazine Seuss doing? I haven't talked to him in a few years. I don't think it was since,
You mean since, Bronze Key Seuss's wedding?
Oh, dude, we gotta get together for the Seuss family reunion. I hear Gnome Seuss is gonna bring some gnome pie.
Oh, awesome. I love gnome pie. Not as much as Cookie Seuss, though.
Look, dude, C is for cookie. That's good enough for me.
Dude, who's your favorite Seuss? Yeah, I think it's the one that appears on Sesame Street. He doesn't count. Oh, I assure you. He does.
Cookie Monster is a Seuss.
He is a Seuss. I think we're ready to.
We have done enough grinding that now.
Oh yeah, now we can smash through those big rocks over there and get to the Hall of Conspiracies.
Ladies and gentlemen, right this way to the Hall of Conspiracy.
Now we're here in the Hall of Conspiracies. It looks basically the same, except it's recolored. We've kind of ran out of time.
Ooh, why is that conspiracy over there got a weird purple pixel thing happening on it?
It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
So in
David's glitching through the wall.
Oh, no.
David, can you just podcast from within the wall there?
Okay, I think I'm stuck.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to just jump into the river 20 times.
So David, do you remember you start out in the Pixely Shack?
Yeah, I think I remember that. Sorry, I just realized I had a fairy on me, so I gotta keep jumping into the river again. Welcome to Mystery Shack Look Back. I'm your docent, David Spencer.
Well, anyway, there's a fortune teller that you can get some messages from. David was trying to figure out what there's a few randomly capitalized letters in each message.
Quote unquote random.
Right, not unlike the codes in Rumble's Revenge. If you had assembled them in the right order, you get "come and find me."
Wait, let me do it as Bill?
Yeah.
Come and find me!
You gotta do it David Lynch here. We're only on Dreamscapers.
Come and find me!
There you go. That is a reference to the hidden floating bills throughout the game that you are invited to collect.
Which I only collected one, and I only saw like 3.
Yeah. We should read off the messages that you get from the fortune teller.
Do you want me to? Are they supposed to be Bill or no?
I think there's a fortune teller. So we'll just alternate. The messages that you get from the fortune teller are, "Common sense isn't that common.
You will search theme songs for hidden messages.
A penny saved is a penny you could have spent at the Mystery Shack.
You will soon feel as though you've wasted a coin.
Incredible wealth will enter your life when you're hit by a money truck." Thankfully, you don't actually have to spend the in-game currency to get messages. You can just hit talk.
And you also don't need to get hit by a money truck.
No. I wonder if that's an option.
Maybe the most legendary Bill in the game is hidden under this one truck, and there's going to be a bunch of conspiracy theories about how to get him out from under there, and most of them will come from source. My dad works at Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Peekaboo is real, guys. He's going to be in the next game.
My dad works at Bamtang.
My dad works at Bamtang.
David, you said you had only seen 3 of the bills.
Yeah, so I collected 1, and I think I only saw 2 more during the playthrough, unless I just wasn't paying attention.
So there are 14 bills in the game.
Yeah. As soon as I picked up 1, it said 1 out of 14, and I was like, what?
I'm pretty sure the only real way to get any of them, you got 1 with just walking around, but once you level up your magic meter, you can float around using the Gideon's psychic amulet, and I think that's how you get the rest. So when you do, you reveal on the end screen there is a cryptogram, and it's every time you collect a bill, you get a number, and those are put into the slots. And when you decode that from the A1Z26 cipher, it reads, Charlie?
Old Man McGee knows!
I don't know if is that Bill?
It's 14 bills.
Yeah. All 14 bills saying in unison.
Old Man McGee knows!
Yeah, so, David, what do you make of that? Old Man McGee knows.
Yeah, so Old Man McGucket does know about all the secrets. I remember we were...
And he's related to the director of Charlie's Angels, McGee.
What was, what's Old Man McGucket's first name? Is it Byron?
It is said in an episode.
It was said in the episode Little Dipper that
And it's Byron McGucket.
That his first name is Fiddleford. His name is Fiddleford H. McGucket.
I'm pretty sure you mean Byron McGucket.
Byron McGucket, yeah. So, what else do you make of that? Any ideas?
Well, I mean, I know we were talking about it on mine and Alexa's episode on the finale, but it definitely seems like this is pointing to Old Man McGucket as part of the original 3 journal writers.
Oh, so you're saying, but then if he is Byron, who is in the grave?
Yeah, Byron's dead, according to the grave.
Oh, so he just knew Byron. He's not Byron.
Byron! My old friend!
Now, how old is McGucket? Because were they teenagers in the 80s or 90s?
I think it's the 90s because there's a newspaper in the Dusk to Dawn from the 90s.
So, McGucket? Either McGucket is like 40, or...
It's kind of probably like, maybe it's just kind of a Doc Brown, Marty McFly dynamic. He is an inventor.
Oh, okay, yeah. They come over to his house every once in a while, and he calls them and is like, now, don't plug in that guitar to the big old amp!
I need you to come to the mall at 3 a.m.!
Why? I love the mall at 3 a.m.
I was gonna eat out of the trash.
Ain't nobody watching the dumpsters at 3 a.m. It's a feast.
So, do you have any other stray thoughts or observations, David Spencer?
No, I think that seems like everything.
All your thoughts and observations have happy, loving homes?
Yeah.
I have a couple. I am error. Dodongo dislikes smoke. It is dangerous to go alone. Take this.
All right.
When you said I am error, I thought you meant there was an I am error reference in this PinesQuest. I was like, what? How did I miss the I am error reference? For those who don't know, in Zelda 2, when you're walking into a town, both of the original Zelda games have all sorts of weird translation stuff, and
that was before Nintendo of America had a dedicated localization team.
Yeah.
So it was often just whichever bilingual person working on the game in Japan would get to write both the Japanese and English versions of the...
This was especially difficult for the original Legend of Zelda because there's supposed to be conversations with NPCs that actually like give you hints as to where dungeons are and stuff, because otherwise they're incredibly difficult to find. But
they have a maximum character count. In Japanese, each word is one character, so that you can get in a lot of information in 20 characters. They are all in sentence fragments in the English version.
And there's some that people still debate, like, what they actually mean, because the wording is so bizarre. But anyways, in Zelda 2, you go into a village and you talk to a person and he just says, I am error. And you're just like, okay, that's a really weird, translation thing that they had an error in this game. And then this guy ended up saying, I am error. But then later on, you talk to somebody else in the town who says, oh, you need to go and talk to error. And you realize, oh, wait a minute, this guy's name is actually error. So when he says, I am error, he's saying his name.
There's a palette swap of error is named Bagu, which people realize is supposed to be bug. So their names are Error and Bug.
That's either true or you just are making all that up on the spot to mess.
Yeah, we all riffed that.
Yeah,
just to screw with you.
So because we have had so much talk about Gravity Falls and video games today, I just want to take a second to promote my friend Jenny Geist's latest video. She is a YouTuber and makes a lot of very interesting video essays, and just posted while we were recording this.
But it's a couple weeks old by the time this is going up.
Yes, that is true. Posted a video called 3DS Licensed Games, The End of an Era, and in it, she talks about...
The end of an era?
In it, she talks about the Gravity Falls game that was eventually released for the 3DS, which we will talk about. It is not PinesQuest, it's a different game, and because it was released while Season 2 was airing, I would say if you're avoiding spoilers, maybe wait on it. But yeah, I just wanted to quickly cross-promote because she is a really underrated YouTuber, and I helped out with a little bit of the research. Yeah.
Awesome. David, what are some of the best episodes of your podcasts in which you talk about video games, be they games you played as a kid that the cartoon reminds you of, or Flash games that you're covering?
Yeah, well, on Come On Fahugel Pods, a Homestarter podcast, we sometimes talk about Flash games, although we're definitely more focused on the cartoons, and most of the games we haven't given their own episode, but we will definitely have to for some big ones coming up, especially Peasant's Quest whenever we get to that.
Like how contemptuously you said peasants. Peasant's Quest.
Peasant.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. The Peasant's Quest.
Yeah, it's something that I still haven't played, so I it's going to be something where I'm going to go in with just expectations through the roof and be completely disappointed.
I mean, that is kind of the reason it's called Peasant's Quest, Ella, because in the very first King's Quest, the king has died and you are one of his potential heirs, but you need to do something to prove you're worthy of taking over as the king.
Oh.
And in Peasant's Quest, you have to prove that you're a peasant.
Amazing.
It's King's Quest, except you have to prove to someone that you don't have any money, that you have to dress in in burlap robes, that you smell terrible.
The 3 trials to prove that you're a peasant.
But I will also say that my other podcast, How Did This Not Get Made, which should be in season 3 right now, where we talk about movies and TV shows that never got made, we're also starting to look at doing episodes on video games. In fact, by the time this episode is out, maybe we have recorded an episode about unmade video games and perhaps even about unmade Zelda games. There's definitely some good stories for unmade Zelda games. So,
for sure, yeah.
That might be in the cards this season. We'll see.
Well, if you want to find more episodes of this podcast right here, go to our host network, pipedreampodcast.com, where you can also find all of the podcasts that David just mentioned. And there's Escape from Walt Disney, How Did This Not Get Made, and Come On for Pods.
While you're there, you can find links to our show's social medias and Discord server. You can also contact us at mysteryshacklookback@gmail.com and tell us about your PinesQuest experience.
Thank you to Pry Brian for voicing Stan in the Hall of Conspiracies intro. And the Hall of Conspiracies theme is Lentil Dentist, a remix of our first episode by Sim and the Dim Bulb V2-0. Listen to the full thing at the link in the description. Sim also did our theme song today, that wonderful chiptune version of
My Heart's in Gravity Falls, yeah.
Yeah.
And thanks to Adam for finally defeating our spit and getting the world record.
Well, it was hard. It formed into like a giant monster.
Yeah. But when as he hit at it, it kind of broke off pieces.
Yeah.
Which it was using to guide its weak point, its giant eyeball.
And when you bash open those pieces, you get more health, which I did not know.
Yes, some of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know in the remaster there might not have been health during boss battles originally. Yeah.
Well, thank you to David for coming by again. This is always a good time.
Oh, you're welcome.
3 episodes in a row. You're basically almost a curator.
Oh.
But you're not. And don't anyone tell him he is.
Know your place, docent.
Okay.
Oh, David.
Oh, I can't stay mad at you.
We have fun here, David. You can do whatever you want. Not really.
Don't fucking touch anything.
Okay.
But thank you for coming by.
You're welcome. I'm scared.
David, while scared and crying, would you like to cue up the outro music, the chiptune by Sim?
Yeah. Take it away. Outro music.